What's up, YouTube? Welcome to ExceedTheHype.com. It's your boy Lucrecio coming at you with another video. Alright, this video is the 5 reasons Harry Giles will be an NBA superstar. Alright, now he was obviously picked by the Sacramento Kings in the draft, a late first round pick. I think it's going to be an absolute steal in this draft, and I think this guy is going to be an absolute superstar in the NBA. And here are my 5 reasons. Number 5. Bigs with great length and versatility are the next wave in the league, right? So what are we seeing right now in the NBA? We're seeing a whole lot of three-point shooter, perimeter-oriented teams taking over, like the Golden State Warriors, the Houston Rockets, the Cleveland Cavaliers as well. All teams who depend a lot on three-point shooting, depend on their offense creating a whole lot of space on the floor, and being impossible to guard because of the amount of space on the floor. So how is this going to be counteracted? It's not going to continue forever. The NBA is a league of waves. There might be a 5-year span where it's just a bunch of 7-foot centers taking over. Then after that, there'll be some dominant perimeter scorers taking over for a while. And then, you never know. And as we see now, the three-point shooting and the teams who have guards who can shoot a lot of threes and scoring guards, that's basically what's hot right now, what's hot on the streets. The next wave, I believe, is bigs with length. Like Antetokounmpo was one. Even though he's a little bit of an anomaly, he's more on a LeBron scale or whatever as far as being able to initiate offense and things of that nature. But then there's more. There's people like Anthony Davis. There's people like big Karl Anthony Towns in Minnesota. These are the guys who are going to kind of take over the league in years to come from the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Houston Rockets and teams like that. The reason why, those teams depend on creating a lot of space. The Rockets create a crap load of space on the floor. How do you counteract this? Well, one thing that helps is having your defenders having really long arms to be able to eat up some of that space. Harry Giles is one of these players who has great length, 7'3" wingspan, and he has a lot of versatility both offensively and defensively. Offensively, he can score in the post. He can step out mid-range. I believe he will add a three-point shot. In today's NBA, you need a three-point shot. He can do so much offensively, and I believe he's a pretty good passer. You didn't see it at Duke, but I'll get into that in a second. Defensively, he can do a lot of things defensively. He can step out. Well, I believe in the NBA he will be able to step out on the perimeter for seconds at a time, and he can guard bigs in a post or whatever you need him to do. So I believe that length and versatility is the 5th reason he's going to be a superstar in the NBA. All right. Reason number 4. The NBA doctors and training staff will be the best that he's ever encountered in his career up to this point. So let's think about why Mr. Giles wasn't the first pick in the draft. He's the best player in this draft. His senior year in high school, everybody thought he was going to be the number 1 pick. Better than Fultz, better than Ball, better than everybody. He was ranked higher than all of them. Right? So let's look at what happened. Torn ACLs, both knees, I believe. Obviously, an injury that many fear, a devastating injury, right? Well, it's not the end of the world, in my opinion. Let's look at other players. Let's look at Steph Curry for one. Early in Steph Curry's career, many people believed that he just would not make it in the NBA. He wasn't made for the league. People said he had glass ankles. All this stuff they said about Steph Curry, and it was reoccurring injuries. Ankle injury after season-ending ankle injury. Well, what happened? Golden State stepped it up as far as their training staff. They figured it out and they strengthened his ankles to the point where he didn't even miss many games per season. I can't remember the last time Steph Curry had a freaking injury. Right? This is the best. The NBA, I believe, is the league with the best training staff and doctors. Let's look at the Phoenix Suns a couple years ago. They had an outstanding training staff. You had players like Grant Hill was one who revitalized his career by going to Phoenix. He had an 82 game year late in his career after having such an injury riddled career. Training staff. All right. Sacramento is a team that's basically new to the party. They've been bad for a while, but now it looks like they're taking the shift in the next direction. They're going to have the best facilities. They're going to have the best training staff, or they're going to have one of the better, or if they're smart, they will put together one of the best training staffs in the NBA. That's another reason I don't believe his injuries will continue on. I mean, of course, people get injured or whatever, but I don't believe the fact that he had those injuries will derail his career. I believe it dropped his draft stock, yes, but it just made him somebody who's gonna basically be a player who people scratch their heads over not drafting in the future. All right, that's reason number 4. Reason number 3 is that people really shouldn't put too much stock into what they saw at Duke University that year that he played there. A lot of what I saw when I watched him at Duke was just a guy going out there to try to get healthy, to try to get a feel for the game, but mainly to try to get healthy. He was not at all the player that I saw, whether in the AAU circuit or whatever, from the videos or whatever, or high school basketball or whatever, where he was the #1 player in the country. You didn't see, you saw flashes of the same type of athleticism a little bit, but you really didn't see the same player. Why? Because he was just trying to get into the flow of the game, of the games. Why? Because he didn't even play that many college games. So I just feel like he was just trying to get into the flow of the games. I don't put a whole lot of stock into that. Another thing, college basketball is also a different game. To me, I always thought the NBA mirrored more what you see in the high school ranks more than college. College is just completely different type of basketball than you get in the NBA. A lot of these players waste their time for that 1 year in college. That's why it's also going to change. So that's another reason. What you saw at Duke is not indicative of what you're going to see from him in the NBA. All right. Number 2, the second reason why he's going to be a star in the NBA, a superstar in the NBA. Sacramento is undergoing a youth movement as we speak. Well, what do I mean by that? They're basically a reborn team. They have all these young players. They have all these newbies coming in mixed with Buddy Hield, who they had last year, who they basically traded for him for DeMarcus Cousins. It's a youth movement. So basically what's going to happen, you're going to have all these young college and high school superstars or whatever on one team, and basically the best is going to rise to the top and end up being the focal point of that offense. And that's what I think will happen with Mr. Giles. Also, and we're going to slide right into the number 1 reason why he's going to be a superstar in the NBA, his backcourt. Let's look at what he's going to be working with in the NBA. Buddy Hield. Now, he wasn't super great so far in his career, but you also have to look at, and I mentioned this in one of my other videos, you also have to look at, it's difficult for that type of a player, if you're the focal point of an offense, to really be effective if you can't create your, and one of my subscribers stated that he's better than he gets credit for at creating his own shot. I haven't seen it. I've seen him play quite a few times, and I just have not seen it, but that's fine. But I look at Buddy Hield, not as good as Klay Thompson or anything like that, but that same type of effectiveness or whatever, the use of off-ball screens and movement to get shots in the same way a Reggie Miller or a Ray Allen. I believe that's his game. That was his game in college, right? So it's difficult to do that in today's NBA as a focal point of an offense. So once This guy has other players who the defense has to key in on. It's going to free him up. It's going to make him a better scorer, a better sharpshooter. So that's one. That's one person who will take a lot of pressure off of Harry Giles. The other one is their number 5 pick in the draft. The guy who's been compared mostly to John Wall more than anybody. I mean, it could be the Kentucky association, but it also could be the fact that he's a speedy, slashing point guard who's unselfish and who plays defense, right? So with a slasher, a really super fast slasher, and a sharpshooter in your backcourt, I think that puts you, especially when your point guard is very unselfish, I think that puts you in a position to succeed. And because of that, I believe Harry Giles will be able to display his full array of talent in the NBA. And because of that full array of talent, because it's so broad, he's going to be a star and then a superstar in this league. All right, let me know what you think. Leave your comments if you agree, if you disagree, or whatever the case may be. All right, see you next time.